Good evening. Good evening and welcome. So my name is Richard Cooper. Welcome again to the Aviation Pub Quiz from COAP Online. We're greatly looking forward to it. Obviously really hope you're doing well and keeping safe and everything else. And I do actually genuinely mean that as well. I hope you're doing really well. It's a weird old time still, isn't it? Goodness me, like good days and bad days. But, you know, I really hope that today is another little break for you, just another quick respite from the craziness of the world out there. So I've shortened up a bit tonight. There's still 3 rounds. You've got the current ops, and then you've got the Legends series, and then you've got the Wildcard series, which we'll wait and see what that is a bit later. But I've shortened it up. There's only 10 questions in each round this time, so I might change that up regularly. I might do some really long ones. I might do some really short, super short ones as well. So let's get on with the quiz and see who's joining. We've got Paul Hoskins, hello, my uncle. I've got my glasses on now because I'm obviously that old. Is the answer to the question a hawker hunter? You know everything. The answer is hawker hunter. Eric, hello. Good to have another quiz. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for your suggestions as well on over email there, Eric. I'll greatly welcome any suggestions that you guys have got for future quizzes or future subjects. So thank you for yours coming through, Eric. Dave, good evening. Dave keeps the world alive with biscuit deliveries around the world, so you're absolutely essential worker in my book. Jonathan, hello mate, good to see you. Gilles, bonjour. Jean Minter, Michael Overstreet, good stuff, good stuff. Very much appreciate you all joining us again tonight. Hi Scott and team from Flying Graphics, good to see you. I hope you're doing well and your health's all good. Stephen Cowie, good evening. Jonathan Unwin, good evening. Hello, Johners. Good to see you. Andy Martin, evening. Oh, Andy, I've managed to include some more civil stuff for you again. Hopefully, I may not be up to your super high quality standards on commercial aviation, but I've done my best. So, evening, Ashley. Good to see you. Paul Edwards, hello. Wilfried, good to see you. Colin, good to see you. Hope you've got your father-son team going there, Colin, as well. Alan, Vernon, yes, woof indeed, woof indeed. You may notice as well there's something strange going on with my green screen tonight. I'm not sure what that is, but I think it's actually starting to merge with my grey hair, which is a little bit worrying. Every time I move my hair, it's like a grey screen we've got going on, not just a green screen. So that's a little bit odd. So without further ado, let me crack on and do the technical bits. Bear with. And we are in. There we go. Virtually everything aviation. COAP Online is getting there. It's nearly ready. We're working very hard behind the scenes to bring you the brand new setup there. So, and we're obviously very excited about it. And you know we'll be absolutely shouting about it when the time comes. So, let's go. Aviation Pub Quiz number 2. Number 1 was awesome. I loved it. Absolutely blew me away how many people got involved with it. There was 8,500 people played that first one. Incredible. There wasn't so many that got the answers though, so I'm not sure what happened there. But as per usual, I'll also put this on YouTube again afterwards as well, so you can look at it at your heart's content, and I'll follow it up tomorrow with the answers as promised. Okay, good evening to some more guys. So Paul Webb, hello there. Hans, good evening. Joe Copperman and Dean, got some good names coming through there. Hi guys, great to see you. Thanks for your support and joining us, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, round 1. Ops boards. This is the current news picture. Questions that have been inspired by events of this week and keeping up to speed on both military and commercial aviation. So, question 1. The USAF's 493rd Fighter Squadron won a much coveted trophy this week, awarded annually for the best air superiority squadron. It's obviously the 48th Fighter Wing at Lakenheath. What is the name of the trophy, and how many years have the Reapers, the F-15Cs, won it consecutively? And I'll give you 2 points for that. 1 for the name of the trophy, and 1 for stating how many years the Reapers have won it consecutively. And I'll tell you, it's something they're very, very proud of as well. That's quite a claim for F-15C unit in the UK to be getting that award. So that's a really much sought after trophy. So 2 points on that one. Here we go. Number 2. The USAF announced that it will no longer be permanently basing B-52 Stratofortresses in this remote island in the Pacific Ocean. What is the name of the island, and what is the airbase called? Now, I haven't written it there, but I will also give you 2 points for that. 1 for the name of the island in the Pacific, and the actual name of the Air Force base to which they are deployed. A couple of seconds on that, and I'll use this time to have my first cheers of the evening. Cheers, gents and ladies and gents. It is the lockdown lock-in after all, so it is 8 o'clock in the UK, so for other people that are watching or over in the States, I hope your coffee or your orange juice is going down just as smoothly as that fine English ale, which of course you'll be happy to hear is slightly warm and at room temperature, because us Brits, that's the way we like to drink ales. Okay, question 3. The US Navy reported another close call by Russian Navy fighters over the Mediterranean over the last week. What is the correct NATO code name of the Su-27? Was the correct NATO code name for the Su-27? And for the second point, what's the name of the base in the Mediterranean coastline in southern Spain from which the US Navy regularly operates? So 2 points available on that one as well. I'm being super generous on that one. Hello to James Woodrow there, over in the States. Good to see you. And Mark Jones, Graham Scott. Got some good answers coming through there. Jonathan's getting, yeah, well done. All the way, Christoph as well from Poland. Cheers, mate. So again, just as a recap, I've got the answers coming through there. Some of them are right, some of them are wrong. I'm going to let it flow because it's a nice interaction and everyone can see the answers and comment accordingly. But when this gets a little bit more serious, when COAP Online is up and running, these will be switched off, and there's going to be some prizes at stake and all sorts. So looking forward to that. All right, question 4. Which European air arm is reported to be purchasing Boeing Super Hornets and Growlers? It's announced this week. They may also get another type in the mix as well. I'm not going to name that type because it will slightly give the game away a little bit. So just concentrating on the Boeing Super Hornets and the Growlers. Which air arm ordered them, and how many does the contract cover of each type? And what I mean by each type is obviously the Super Hornets and the Growlers, because obviously they're both FA-18 series. Flooding through. Good stuff. Okay, question 4. 3, 2, 1. Now question 5. The Czech Air Force celebrated how many years of operating the Saab Gripen this week? Bonus point for the squadron and the home base. Now I'm going to have to check in with a good friend of mine, Tim Beach, when we get the answers to this, because I know the name, but I'm not sure of the pronunciation. So you'll have to forgive me if I get it wrong slightly on that. But I'm looking for the how many years the Czech Air Force has operated the Saab Gripen, with bonus points for the squadron and the home base. So 2 bonus points, 1 for the other, so 3 in total. It's the Tiger edition of the Czech Gripen caught there on arrival to Antalya show during a COAP op last year. Superbly piloted, that aeroplane. Okay, question 6. Which Air Force was left red-faced as an Su-25 Frogfoot launched a missile whilst it was stationary on the ramp at its home base? You can see up there up the top on this there, the actual missile flying out of the Su-25, and then on the other side over there is the hole left in a fuel truck. And a bonus point for naming the primary base from which it operates. And that again is a tricky spelling, so good luck with that one, and good luck to me tomorrow when I try and pronounce it. And some good answers coming through there. My sister calling me a geek. Yep, that's absolutely spot on, and I'm proud of it. Some excellent answers coming through. Good stuff, guys. Keep them coming. Okay, another couple of seconds on that one before I change it over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question 7. Let me just change that around there. There we go. Question 7. Civi. Which US airline absorbed 10 A350 orders from the LATAM group order book? And a bonus point for stating which European airline decided to park its 17-strong fleet of Airbus A340-600s this week. I use the term parked lightly because obviously we all hope that this isn't the end for such classic types, that they'll be rejuvenated, regenerated and put back into service when all this is over. But obviously very difficult to say at the moment. So all sorts of shenanigans going on with order books and who's taking what. I also looked today that there's an airline looking to swap its 717s for the 737 Maxes. So there's all sorts of craziness going on out there at the moment. But this particular question is which US airline absorbed 10 A350s from LATAM? The bonus point for saying which European airline parked its 17 strong of Airbus A340-600s, and that is another geeky mouthful. Number 8. A Virgin subsidiary announced that a government bailout was refused and it had entered voluntary administration. What's the name of the subsidiary airline? There's a big fat clue there, but there's a specific designation of the airline. So, and it was voluntary. They've met, by all accounts, I'm no expert in this stuff, but by all accounts they've managed the situation very well and taken the step to voluntarily reorganise and enter administration so that the reorganisation process can take place. And again, from what I've seen and heard over the last couple of days, it's very hopeful of emerging a much better, stronger carrier. So there's perhaps a lesson for us all in that somewhere. So question number 9. Many airlines are undertaking cargo flights with passenger aircraft to aid the combat of COVID, ferrying supplies and medical equipment, etc. Give 2 official names or designations for an airliner that is designed for easy conversion from passenger to freight or can carry a mix of both. So I'm looking for 2 specific designations here. They can be the acronym, or they can be the actual explanation of what that acronym is. I don't mind. And there's probably more than 2. There's a few actually out there, but I just need 2 correct answers from you for the conversion, that's the key word there, from passenger to freight, or can carry a mixture of both passengers and freight at the same time. So I'll give you a couple of seconds on that while I wash my mouth out before all that dirty civvy speak. I'm only joking. I absolutely love the airline industry. Genuinely. Having spent many years working in it, I find it fascinating. Okay, question 10. British Airways is parking up its Boeing 747-400s rather rapidly. Again, hopefully not forever, but I do get the feeling that this lot may well be. When did British Airways receive its first jumbo jet? Read that very carefully. When did British Airways receive its first jumbo jet? Bonus point for what is the height of that particular variant's winglet? The winglet being the sticky up bit on the end of the wings, obviously. So what is the height of that winglet? And when did BA receive its first jumbo jet? And I'll give more of an explanation on that tomorrow, of course, but that is the specifics I'm after for this quiz. Okay. So I'll give you another. Sorry about that, Andy. I've just seen it is. I know military's my thing, but I love civil, and but I don't pretend to be an expert at that. So, but I do really greatly enjoy it. So just another sip while we go on to round 2. Cheers, everyone. Okay, round 2, the Knights of Old. So this looks back at the past. Going right back to the early days, right through to today's current stuff, but looking at milestones or specifically classic aviation legends or milestones of flight or specific dates or looking at moments in history that should be, I learned stuff putting the quiz together, right? So even if it's not your bag, hopefully we'll learn some stuff together out of it. So round 2. Question 1. Name the first person to fly an aircraft in France and the year. Now, this is quite an interesting one because there's a lot of contention over who was first. Not specifically in France, but in the world actually. And there's lots of talk around whether the Wright brothers were the first, or whether even some of the French guys were the first, or others. There's quite an interesting little debate on them. I mean, officially, obviously, we know the answers, but this particular question is the first person to fly an aircraft in France, and what was the year? Some good questions come through. Brian Corbett, good to see you, my man. I guess you must be having a morning coffee by now, something like that. Maybe not an amazing burger that we shared together at El Centro that time. Goodness me. Still never forgotten that one, mate. Never have forgotten. Okay. Question 1 is going in 3, 2, 1. Question 2. What is the first name, or given name, the Christian name, of the founder of Dassault Aviation? And again, what year was it founded? 2 points there. And I absolutely love that shot of him. That's fantastic. It's a real classic image of someone that's founding an airline and figuring out new flight envelopes and everything else with the hair and moustache and everything else. Talking of lockdown hair, goodness me, this might well be the last time I do one without a hat on. I'm not sure I've got enough gel in the bathroom to tame this lot anymore, but we'll see. And certainly the beard needs a lot of work as well. So, oh dear, lockdown. Okay, and question 2 is going in 3, 2, 1. Marcel Boss, good guess, good guess. Question 3. The company has an awesome design legacy. Really incredible designs to come out of Dassault, but it only ever produced one commercial airliner. What was its name? And for the bonus point, how many were built? And it's quite surprising, actually, for such a prolific manufacturer. I won't give too much away now, so crack on with that. But yeah, very interesting design. I think I've only ever seen one. I used to work at Heathrow, and I remember seeing an Air Inter jet taxiing along. I was just, first glance, 737, and then second glance, couldn't take my eyes off it. It's actually quite a remarkable looking aeroplane. I really, really like them. But interesting question when you see the answer to that one. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Question 4. True or false? The A-12 was a secretive spy plane developed for and operated by the US Air Force in the 1960s. True or false? The A-12 was a secretive spy plane developed and operated by the US Air Force in the 1960s. True or false? Bonus point for this one is the manufacturer's code name used for the project's development. Manufacturer code name used for the project development. Good true or false one there coming through. Lots of good answers coming there. Yeah, Skunk Works, Christoph, you're absolutely bang on there. Good stuff. Yeah. Not quite the Habu yet on that one, Michael. It was very early to that. Very early. The Habu was when the SR-71 was alive and kicking, and named after the indigenous snake of Okinawa when it was down there. Alrighty, question 4 and question 5. Name all of the Century jets. You must provide the numeric designation and the manufacturer name for each, and I've given you a bit of a head start because I've let you know there's 6 I'm looking for. There's only 6 made, so I'm looking for all 6. All of the Century jets. You must provide the numeric designation and the manufacturer name for each. I thought about giving you a heads up on what a Century jet is as well, but nah, you got to be knowing what a Century jet is. So I'm going to be harsh on that one. Numeric designation and the manufacturer of all 6 Century jets. I'll give you a couple of seconds on that one because that's a tough one. Well, shouldn't be tough, but it might take a bit of time. How are we doing? So Kelvin coming in there with the F111. That's where it stops. It stops just before that. So the F111 has always been debated as to whether it should be included as a Century jet or not. But for this purposes, it's not. But thank you for being clever. Hope the family's well, mate. All coming through thick and fast. So Christoph, on the right track there, mate. But some information missing. I need the manufacturer name as well for each. And everyone is typing very, very quick. I am impressed. I don't think I could. Oh, yeah, there we go. No, that's the name, Christoph. Yeah, well done. That's the name. But I need the manufacturer as well for everything. So the whole lot, the entire designation of every single one of them. And 3, 2, 1. Question 6. What was the number and unit nickname? Well, it wasn't actually a nickname. It was the name by which it was going by. Given to the US Air Force's secret squadron formed to undertake the exploitation of foreign aircraft. Basically, the American Air Force flying MiGs to exploit the technology and see how the jets performed. And a bonus point for the USAF's code name for the program. So there's 3 points available on that one. I'm looking for the number of the squadron, the nickname given to the unit, and the USAF's code name for the actual whole program in its entirety. It's got a good little story. If I remember, yeah, I'm getting old. If I remember, I'll tell you the story about how that code name came about as well, because it's great. In fact, that whole entire story of the American Air Force exploiting MiGs and Sukhois and whatever else is just fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And I'd give my left arm, right arm. Wouldn't be able to take any photos then though, so I probably wouldn't give my arms away to see those or hear the latest about what's going on over there. I really would. Be incredible stuff. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Question 7. In January of 1989, 2 F-14 Tomcats shot down 2 Libyan Air Force fighter jets. Name the type that they shot down and the unit to which the F-14s were assigned. So again, 2 points. Most of them are like that tonight. I'm looking for the type that the F-14s shot down over Libya and the unit of the Tomcats that they were operated by. So there's a couple of points there. And while we're waiting, I'll just say that the Aviation Barbecue, our third episode, is I think it's live now. If it's not live now, it'll be certainly live in a couple of hours or later on. I just saw Jamie check in earlier and reminded me to say. So we've got the first episode was on Top Gun. The second episode was on the Red Arrows, and the third episode is on QRA, for which we've interviewed Ian Black, Lightning pilot, talking to us about the intercepts and how they work and what QRA is all about. So that episode of the Aviation Barbecue is now live on the YouTube channel. So back to the question. Question 7. Type that they shot down over Libya and the unit to which the Tomcats were assigned. 5, 4. There's loads and loads of wrong answers coming on that one, so that's gotcha. And you're right, Brian, there is actually one of them currently stored in AMARC. I believe it's still there. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they're looking to put one of these jets in a museum, or I think it's assigned to a museum. It's not ready yet, one of the two, but I believe they're both still alive, as in not scrapped. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Question 8. One of the most prolific MiG fighters to be built was the MiG-21 Fishbed. Name the 3 factories at which they were produced in the USSR. 1 point for each. So there's 3 factories that produced thousands upon thousands of MiG-21s over the years in the USSR. 1 point for each, please. And it's gone a bit quiet on there, so I'm guessing you're racking your brains thoroughly for that one. Yeah, Brian's just confirmed that. Thanks, Brian. About it was slated to go to a museum, so it'd be interesting to see if that happens. Chris Muir, good guess. Factory 1, 2, and 3. It's probably not far wrong, to be honest. But no, I need the name of the plants. So where they are, basically. Name the 3 factories at which produced MiG-21s. And Pertu, I'm not sure if you're online tonight, but that was one that should be very, very easy for you. In fact, you'll probably come up with another 6 different factories, Pertu being a MiG-21 fanatic. Okay. It's not Mark Jones, Russian factory names, really. It's not as hard as you might think. It's not like Russian Cyrillic names or anything, or numeric designations or anything. It's really not as tricky as you think. Give it a guess. You might come up trumps with that. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Question 9. Question 9. NATO. So the North Atlantic Treaty was signed on 4th of April 1949. Checking my facts with my daughter on that one. Is that correct? She's nodding. Which is the name given to the NATO programme launched in 1994 that aimed to create something of a trust between the NATO members and the other states of Europe and the former Soviet Union. So NATO was formed, and then it formed another group, another programme that built relationships with predominantly Warsaw Pact countries, but I don't want to give too much away. So your guesses on that, please. And the bonus point. I didn't know this, I have to say, hands up. Which nation became the 30th member of NATO on the 27th of March, just like a couple of weeks back? Did not know this. So every day's a school day, even if you're the quizmaster. Okay, couple of seconds on that one. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question 10. Name these national insignias. And I hope Mr. Hunter is still watching, because one of my first ever commercial contract jobs was with Jamie. We've done a lot of firsts together, actually, but this was for Jane's, and we had to produce the world's national insignias, and it was quite some task for every air arm and for every division of that air arm. Yeah, that was something of a monumental piece of work that we produced for them. Great fun doing it as well. Before the days of computers, so everything was very much done by hand as well, incredibly. So name those 3 national insignias. 1, 2, 3, 1 point for each. How are we doing? There's Thailand, Malta, Somalia in there, North Macedonia in there. Thailand and Malta. Yeah, not bad, not bad. The third one's catching you out a bit, I think. Yeah, 1 and 2 are looking pretty solid. Some good guesses. Okay, another couple of minutes. Quick fire. Couple of seconds on that one, and we'll go to the final round. Captain America. Pretty close, Peter. Pretty close. That's look a bit like the Shield there, doesn't it? Okay. 3, 2. Michael Overstreet. Best answer of the night. 2 bogeys and a target. Very clever. 3, 2, 1. Round 3, the wildcard round. Where do we go this week? Well, it had to be this, really. With how much we're hurting, how much we're missing them all and everything else, it had to be a look at air shows. So let's obviously just take another sip. I'm not an alcoholic, honestly. And ready to go. Are we all ready to go there? Yeah, here we go. Okay, question 1. Farnborough Air Show. Regardless of the quality of event now, it has been no less than an institution in the airshow calendar since the early years of flight. In which year did the Society of British Aircraft Constructors, as it was first called, gather to show their wares, and which location was that first exhibition held? So which year did the SBAC first gather to show their wares, and which location was the exhibition held? And I can see my mother has joined, which means my father is also online. My dad doesn't do Facebook, not a chance. We've tried, but that's not happening. So I'm very pleased to be able to bring some of the Farnborough knowledge to you all, and some incredible photographs like this one on the screen now. So yes, Ashley Wallace, you are absolutely right. It is one hell of a photo. Obviously the princess there, just absolutely incredible. And look at all those Vulcans, and he's going to kill me, but Avro 707s on the runway. Maybe Mum, if you can ask Dad to put what that is on the runway there. I think there's two Vulcans and 4 Avro 707s on the runway with the princess screaming over the top. Absolutely incredible. One of the things that we're going to be doing with COAP Online is having some new channels, some new YouTube channels and films and everything else. So I'm going to be interviewing my father quite a lot for them about stuff like this, because it's just absolutely magical. And he's in charge. He's a historian of Farnborough, so he's in charge of all this history. So we'll be passing that on to you guys as well. Alrighty. Should we just leave it here for a minute, just soaking up that picture some more? We don't need to change it just yet, do we? Anyway. Alright, so what year did the SBAC first gather to show their wares, and which location was the exhibition held? 3, 2, 1. Thank you for adding from a distance though, Claire, my sister. Yes, obviously, we're talking much further down the line yet. And question 2. Which 3 airfields did the SBAC event before its eventual move to Farnborough in 1948? Bonus point for the years it was first held at each location. So, before it moved to Farnborough in 1948, the SBAC held its annual event in 3 other airfields. and I'm looking for all three. And what a shot that is. So we could spend an entire episode, Dad and I, just talking about those aeroplanes in that view there and what they were doing and the trials and everything else for them. Look at it. It's absolutely incredible. Flying bedstead on the far right there. Unbelievable. Incidentally, that let's get my angles right because my camera's reversed. That famous shed there, you may know it as the black sheds. That's not specifically. It is a black hangar, but it's not the black sheds that were where the first aircraft flew from. It's part of the old RAE buildings, and that's now gone. It's now completely been transformed into a world-class Gulfstream manufacturing centre. So all those famous shots of aircraft landing at Farnborough with a black hangar in the background, that's now consigned to history. So obviously you may not know that because obviously you may only come to Farnborough once every 2 years, or if at all anymore. But yeah, that site is no more. It's quite incredible the facilities they've got there now, to be fair. Okay, 3, 2, 1. The Air Tattoo / IAT / RIAT events began in 1971 at RAF North Weald. They moved to Greenham Common in 1973 and onwards to RAF Fairford in 1985. The question is, since that time, RIAT has been held at one other airfield. What was the station and which years did it move? 2 points. The year's correct, half a point for each one if you get it, and the name of the other place that RIAT was held at over the years. Just enjoying the view of that Air Tattoo Collection DVD from is it a Plains TV one, I guess. Love the artworks. Love those show artworks. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Question 4. Prior to being an annual event, the IAT, International Air Tattoo, was held every year at RAF Fairford. Held at RAF Fairford every 2 years between 1985 and 1996. What was the name of the Boscombe Down displays that took place in alternate years in the early 90s? So Fairford wasn't always every year, it was every 2 years, and that occurred between 85 and 96. And what was the name of the Boscombe Down displays that took place in alternate years? So when Fairford wasn't on, this happened in the early 1990s. What was its name? What was the name of that show? Actually, I'm guessing you got that previous question right there by the bone. That was quite a moment. 74 squad of Michael Overstreet, not 71. 74. Looking good for hands there. Well done. Okay, another couple of seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question 5. A legendary moment of in the UK airshow scene, that photograph. The arrival of this unbelievable test pilot with an unbelievable set of displays to come. So what was the name of the legendary test pilot who flew the red, white and blue Su-27 flanker that wowed the Western worlds at air shows all over Europe in the 1990s, probably the mid-1990s. So the name and correct spelling of the Russian test pilot who flew that beautiful flanker at European air shows all over Europe in the mid-1990s. That was amazing. He was incredible. I don't know if you ever saw him display or saw him, what I was going to say was specifically finish his display, because he used to climb out of the cockpit of the flanker. And he didn't wear a G-suit. I mean, this guy was a robot. Incredible. He'd do things with this flanker that we'd never seen before, and he'd get out the cockpit and he'd sort of jump down onto it, and he'd put his arms on the cockpit railings and physically let his body drop so that it cracked all of his spine back into alignment. I mean, good grief. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question 6. What is the name given to these historic military airshow acts? the French Air Force Jaguar pair, the Royal Netherlands Air Force NF5 pair, and the Royal Navy Sea Vixen display team of 892 NAS. And I put the squadron in there because I think they may have had a couple of them over the years. But this is the specific name of the 892 NAS display team, as well as the Dutch NF5s and the French Jaguars. And anyone that saw the Jaguars, that's obviously the predecessor to what we see now as the Mirage 2000s. Yeah, oh my goodness. Whew. They were quite something. I think they went from the Jaguars to the Mirage F1s to the Mirage 2000s we see today. And oh my goodness, these Jaguars, I don't think we'd ever see two fast jets flying quite so close ever. Maybe the Angels, I don't know, but certainly that for combat squadrons, doing a display as a pair, that they were remarkable. Absolutely. If you ever get a chance to look on YouTube or anything else like that for, I nearly said the name. I'll give it to you tomorrow. 3, 2, 1. Question 7. One of the finest warbird shows in the US is held at Chino in California. What is the name given to these annual displays? So they have a couple of other displays throughout the year as well, but the main event, the actual main event at Chino, what is the name of that display? Some great... It's a great comments coming through. Joe Kaufman has just come back with saying the closed captioning on my quote there about the test pilot. Again, I nearly gave the name away. Said when I said he didn't wear a G suit, the captioning came up with he didn't wear Jesus. Absolutely brilliant. Anyway, so what's the name given to the annual displays? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question 8. At which US Air Force base does Aviation Nation take place? Bonus point being which famous display team is based there. 1 point for the station, 1 point for... no, that... okay, that's a hangover from last week's quiz. Ignore the 1 point for each station, 1 point for the year it moved. That doesn't count. Copy paste. No, this is about the USAF base at which Aviation Nation takes place, and a bonus point for which display team is based there. Pretty easy one. I'm aware some of the questions might be quite hard, so mixing them up a little bit. This should be pretty straightforward. I'm getting burnt by some Raptor afterburner there, which is quite an effect. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question 9. One of the more exotic events in the calendar is Lima in Malaysia. What does the acronym Lima stand for? L-I-M-A. What does the acronym Lima stand for? And that scene there is as the Su-30 MKI came in after its display, and these guys absolutely are worshipped. They're pretty cool, actually, to be fair. They're real sort of superior fighter pilots, and no word of a lie, this guy, the ground crew, the technician, he was bonkers, absolutely nuts. He was like he would throw in like a fishing line out over there to where the up in there where the jet taxied into. He'd throw out a fishing line and he'd be reeling the flanker in like this, and he'd just put on this amazing show. It was fantastic to watch. Great fun. Totally nuts, but great fun. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question last question of that, right? Yeah. Oh, I've missed a question. Never mind. We're all new to this. Who knows? The world's crazy. Question 10. Name the nation that these 4 exotic display teams represent. A, B, and C there. So I'm looking at this 4 points in total. 1 for each. Escuadra de Fumacha, Black Knights, Smoky Bandits, and the Wings of Storm. Another one for me to test my pronunciation without tomorrow. And yeah, how are we doing on the answers? Some good ones coming through. Not everyone's getting that one. Struggling? Yeah, I know. I missed question 9. Like I say, amateur. Still learning. Good stuff, coming through nicely. All right, that is it for this evening. Thank you very much for watching. As we know, COAP Online is going to be virtually everything aviation. I'm greatly looking forward to doing that with you. And yeah, you'll be kept up to date to all of the developments as they happen. So watch out for it. All that remains is for me to say see you again soon. And cheers. Thanks for watching. And same time again next week, I guess. Take care. Cheers for now.